This is Gerald Johan van Was and the educational channel related with the book Sound in Form, also in 2 volumes, The Development of the Word and the Application of the Word. Sorry, the text will be in Dutch that you can see on the screen, but this will be the English version. I have 2 versions this time, and I will talk further about the theory about sound in form, which is about how to combine letters and words, how you can analyze words, how you can change them into forms, how you can realize that the underlying perspective that is noted by combining letters and by in every word that already exists, there is a kind of a natural order in it that you can analyze, and which proves that this order is predestined, that these combinations of letters really mean what they are intended to mean. So it took me a long time to get to a method that you can analyze it very quickly. Also, you can learn it intuitively. There's also a mathematical method behind it. This mathematical method still needs to be transformed into a kind of let's say programmed version of my theory, but this is something for the future. It's not there yet. So development of the word is the development of the theory as well, and the second volume, the application of the word, is more about other regions where other theories that came to the same kind of conclusions. Some and about the steering mechanism in certain scripts, where you can see there's even a kind of yin-yang balance in certain scripts that shows how people have to think in a certain direction. So even that can be found in languages and in sounds. But this time it's about the last 3 series of complexity in letters. I already explained in the latest video that sometimes it's very helpful to use dimensions. There's a numerological order in all the letters, so the last 3 series are of course the numbers 7, 8 and 9. If you would really calculate how the calculations are done with the letters and with the meanings, the underlying meanings, okay, the theory says that you need 7, 8 and 9 dimensions, but it can be more simple. It is needed in a way, so I will explain complex association as well, but it's also the last 3 dimensions are actually meant to make a simplification, because in general, okay, you have 3 regions of formation. The first formation is just our regular space of 3 dimensions. You can place things in space, very simple as they are, and you can describe them there and so on. There are also a couple of things that you cannot describe with this alone, and here you need the extra dimensions for it. We all know the extra dimensions of time, and time is needed for the purpose of delay. So if you cannot immediately form as an element here in these 3 dimensions, then you need more time. It needs a process. You need some development before and conditions before you can do that. These are the higher dimensions with time, which I explained in the latest video. The last 3 dimensions are actually trying to focus upon the things that are unreachable, so that you can't develop over time, any time. So it is higher than yourself, it's further away from yourself, it's unknown, all these things. There must be a way to come back to our reality. There are a few things that we can't grasp immediately, but we try to grasp something of it. And these are the 3 dimensions that will try to step back. So instead of adding a dimension, it will decrease the dimensions. So instead of adding the extra 3 dimensions, at the same time it's decreasing the amount of dimensions, so that you have a materialization process. It is actually 7, 8 and 9 dimension, because it will add the process how to do so. So you have something which is it's further away from yourself, and you try to have a feedback process so that it comes back to a materialization process. We'll tell something about that later. But I will focus mainly on the simplification, the stepping back into the 3 dimensions. So in the last couple of pages of my first book, or first volume in the large book, I also explained that it is a taking back of a dimension. So you have 1 dimension less, 2 dimensions less, 3 dimensions less, until you're back into our 3-dimensional space. That's the kind of orientation that you do. So the volumes can be grasped in that way. In the first 3 letters, the Q, V, and G, you would take 1 step back, and the focus is from a certain center point of vision. You will take 1 step back, and you will make the things more practical. I will have some examples: VAL, GAL, GAT, and K. These are 3 Dutch words and 1 French and Spanish word. That will be the example for this for the letters of this. I will translate them if I immediately know the English words. So of course, maybe it's a good idea to have an example for what is this that you take some dimensions back. How you can imagine this? Let's have a very good example. Just imagine that you have a process which is so incredibly complex. It is a process which needs another process, and it needs stages, and all these stages has to be formed some time or another, and you can't do that immediately because it's too much. Or even nature itself, if it sees that it takes too many steps to get to something, it will try to focus back onto a lower dimension instead of delaying it in higher dimensions the whole time. It goes 1 step back, and it will try to materialize a process that makes it the process more quickly. That it will do an intake, and it will process what is processable. So some things will be useful, and other things will not be useful. So they will be within our limits of our own space. You can make certain things happen. It happens in plants, for instance. Sometimes when the processes are so complex that the plants can't adapt so easily, it will make a chemical process, a process in a materializing process that makes the process more quickly. So that at least with this chemical process, at least something will be acting or reacting more quickly. That's more or less the process that are in these 3 dimensions, which I will not explain from the dimensions point of view, but I will explain them from the letters, what they will do, and from our focus point of view. Another good example is the last sound of the whole series, which is H. It takes 3 dimensions back. What does that mean? It's really the 3 extra dimensions are those that take an extra time, take an extra process, and so on and so on. It makes it more and more complex, and the H takes that back. So it says like, okay, this whole process that you say, okay, someday you will find this, and someday you will get to this. I had enough of this. Go back to the reality. This I understand. This I have, and all the rest is bullshit. So is also a way to go back to reality, and it's a good way to do so at certain points. So if there are too many processes of delay, stop it. Let's go back to the basics. So I have these 3 letters that I will explain here, and there are 3 regions that are already in my process of explanations. So the blue part over there, this is my whole material that I can achieve. This is my 3-dimensional space, everything like I am and I can be. The red square around it, the red frame around it are more the things that with some delay I can achieve someday or another. The left part is the things that are already too far away from me, and these are the things that I cannot reach at any time. They are beyond reach, they are unknown, they are further away from me. It's over my my capacities, I mean, but we try to grasp them as well, and we try to use something of them. So this time we will take the process back to our reality by these letters that I will explain. So this is the Q. So the Q will go to the center. This is completely unknown. This is not which we cannot grasp, and we will see what effect that has on our borders, what we can reach at some time. This is our capacities, our outer capacities which we can reach someday or another. So if you see, okay, this is beyond, this is still within reach at some point or another, then we can grasp it. There we can use the Q. The V, this is the V. There the V will be the material that we will see, okay, which material is beyond our reach, but some day or another, or in some point or another, we can still use it or reuse it at some point. And then the G, the last one. This will be about the very large edges and areas that are really beyond our grasp. It is bigger than ourselves. The spaces, the laws or whatever are too large. We cannot grasp it, but it can have an effect on us. This is something that we can grasp, and this is something we can express by the letter of G. And the examples I will use is K, VAL, GAL and GAT. K is a Spanish and French, and it means something like a what. Yes, it's like the question mark, what. But I will first show you what the three differences again are. So we go from one center to our edge, from another material, from another center to our edge, from another material to our material, from another border or edge or probably are other words to our center. This is more the mathematical puzzle that I will use, and this is the region that can be described this way with these three letters. So now first the letter, the word K. K is, so you go from a center which is completely unknown. It is a bit comparable to like you hear something from another center, you notice something from another center. It uses A, which are the certain peak values that of expression of anything, and because of the U, which is expressed there, some of these expressions are still incomplete or are in development. So this is basically saying like I hear someone or I notice something from someone else, and I try to grasp it in my experiences, what I can grasp sooner or later. In fact, that's what it is. What is coming towards me, and what can I grasp from it, or sooner or later. It doesn't need to be immediately grasped sooner or later. That's the meaning, the significance of K. The next word, VAL, in English it is a fall. Yeah, that's it. So the fall, and it's there's another word which is also expressed as VAL. It is when you want to catch a rabbit and you create something where you can catch it. I don't remember what the English word is, but probably you know already what I'm talking about. Where you can catch the rabbit in it. So that's also the same word which is used in VAL. It's a Dutch word. So here it is about the material. Which material can come in? That is actually basically what he's saying there. In the first word, the K, there was the unknown value. This is also about the last series is also about the unknowns. So what is the unknown value? So try to grasp the unknown value. Also here there is the unknown can also be can be a negative, as I can show you in the next slide. Because if I express it very well, the val with the L has to be a certain vertical extension as well. The vertical extension of the unknown area is too large and I can't grasp it. So the large area has to fall back on the smaller area, and it has to decrease its volume. So there's some negative values there also, because some of the values I will not be able to grasp, I will not be able to catch. That's what I'm saying. So it is only the parts that I can catch will be felt with the word val. The last part is the GAL. I should have looked it up. It's one of the organs in your body that is spleen, I think it is, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. It is an extra, it's an organ that helps you with the digestion. If it really is not digesting anymore, it produces its own liquid so that you can, eliminate the poisons. That's the organ, what it does. Is that correct, the translation? I don't know, I don't have enough time. I will not redo this video again, but this is also what the meaning of this word is. And it is also about the values that are larger than yourself, the edges that cannot be grasped. So you cannot take them in. So the values that are over a certain value, over a certain value that you can do something with it. In this case, we will try to do something with it. And by trying to do something, some of it will not be, cannot do something with it inside your own environment. So some of it will have to be excluded. So again, this negative part is equally important. Some parts can be included, other parts have to be included. And this process, also in these higher dimensions, will include two processes. Some of it will be taken in again, but some of it will be excluded as well. So this process of filtering is very important, that it has a complete circle in it, that you do this complete both of it. And the last word is GAT or HAL. Here the G places it on the edges and the A places it there on the edges because it ends in T on a very small part of the edges. So it is again a part which is missing. There will be a missing part, a negative part there as well. So the whole is something that I notice from my center, that something is missing at the edges. That is actually the description of the word GAT or whole. The next letters after Q, V, G and so I had now already some letters. Yeah, the H I didn't have yet, so it was H, R and He. This was confusing because I expressed the word in English. Now I have the words that I will show them, some examples: HAL, REL and REK. Like the first ones are a reorientation from the center point of view. Here there will be a reorientation of material. The material that will have a reorganization so that some parts that were excluded can be reused. These will be the letters that will be about that. So here are the three letters and the places where they will be met. So the H will be the formation of the volume. We will have some of the volume that we cannot grasp, but will still include some of it, but simply because we know it exists, and somewhere on the edges it can be an extension to what we can achieve, simply because we deal with this material Well, this is more or less what the H is about. The R is more about the values in the volume that are about extensions and so on. And all these higher volumes that are higher than ourselves will be included in our own material and materialization process. While the He is at the edges, it will be some things that are too large to grasp, that don't hang together, and we will make them hang together, just like in the joke, which is expressed with he. We will take two completely some materials together that are not fitting together, are a bit nonsense that how they fit together. We will make something from it, and that is quite funny if we do so, that we make it logical. Now these three parts in other words, so we have another volume that we have an effect on our edges. In purely mathematical, it's that. There we have other centers that will have an effect to our own value in the material. So we will deal with higher, with bigger center values with the R. And the he, we already said, they have a control over things that don't hang together well. Examples: HAL, REL, REK. HAL or HAL, I think HAL is that the same word? Yeah, it can be used in the same context. HAL is something which is already, as you can see in the left, something which is quite enlarged volume, larger than we can even grasp immediately from our own small area of where we are. So it's bigger than that, and it's at the edges of what we can grasp. That is more or less what HAL means. HAL means it's over, we can grasp it until here. It is bigger than that, and we deal with that. It's bigger than we can see immediately. It's bigger than we see, than we grasp immediately. It's not more or less than that is expressed in that word. REK, which is a word which means stretch. It also means you can hang something on it. There are some other explanations as well, but let's not make it too complex this time. We'll explain it and translate it as stretch. So the REK will stretch certain limits from the values in the volume. So we will stretch the limits there, and we will see what we can grasp in our own small space. So it is always this comparison, but we will not be able to grasp the full stretching. We are limited in our stretching. So if we will cross the borders of what we can stretch, it will break. That's why the K is there as well. So the stretching is not indefinite. We are limited to our stretching of values in a volume, and that's the word REK, the expression of the word REK. And the last word is REL. It's the English word is when you have revolt. I think that is a good word. So it's something like a revolt, yeah, of a small revolt, something like that. That's a REL. What I can see here in the REL, in the word, is that the material and the materializing and the values in the materializing is increasing, in stretching, in vertical sense, so in the highlighting sense. So it is basically saying, like, I want to stretch the limits, the possibilities of what I can do with my material, and I want more material, and I want to stretch what I can catch, or what I can have. It's basically a little bit like some people who say, I don't have enough, I want more. And this counter reaction which you have in your own environment is actually saying like, no, we can't have this. Now in this case, it's also stretching the limits of wanting more. You cannot have more if you don't have it. So it is, yeah, the red flag is there. You can't produce more if you don't have more. So this creates a conflict situation which is expressed in this word. The last series, that's the most difficult one. It's the last one. It's in the last 3 dimensions back. So we will have a materialization of processes that are completely beyond our reach. I will put them completely back to our reach. So it's the outer edges that we can have. We will put them into our own limits and to our own environment. That's basically what you have. I didn't make myself easy here. I took the words PIL, which is an PIL. I think that's in English as well. P, which is it uses in English as well, and sin is an English word. So, okay, not much translations here. So let's see where it will get us. Here the 3 stretches at all of the edges. So when I take them apart, it's all about the edges and the outer possibilities of what it can have. So the E will have the outer possibilities of the unknown, almost like, and it has an effect on the outer edges of what we can reach. So what cannot be in reality, our own behaviors, our own anything that that is where we are growing has an effect on us with the E. With the S, it's also about the edges, but it's about the edge. It's about the volume of the edges or the material of the edges, which I'll explain a bit better later. And the H is about the edges themselves, what kind of effect that has on us, on ourselves. I'll explain a bit better. So E is really the center value of the edges, where it will have an effect on our adaptations. So we will adapt sooner or later. We will find a way, like the whole limits of everything which is unknown. It's still, if we grasp it, it will have an effect on how we behave. The S is more the effect of everything which is forming and is still unknown, also has an effect on what we are forming, what we are creating. And the H is the outer effect, outer edges, the outer limits of anything that we can imagine, as an effect on our central control about everything what we realize ourselves immediately. So basically it actually says like everything what we see and every behavior, if it is too strange, if it's unadaptable, we simply also can decide, no, we don't do that. We have decision making here. We can't grasp it as simply as that, and I acknowledge this. So PIL is again, so it's a bit more difficult because the P is already taking a distance from our own materializations area, the gray area there, and it says everything what you can reach after a while. That's the orange thing, after a while, and in the effect of what we can reach someday or another, it will also have an effect on us. So the pill, like we can have from the doctor, it is in the region of the outer effects what we already create ourselves, and then there we can find something, and we can find a usage of something which again in feedback has a process as a counter effect on us. It is a complex thing because it's on the last letters. It's always a complex thing. Even with P, it's at the outer edges that we can reach, and again we will find something that we'll try to centralize this once more. Sooner or later we'll find a feedback into our own space again. The P has a specific meaning which is quite complex, but I will leave it to just a couple of paintings this time. You can see actually the P is a certain edge of what we can reach, and we will try to steer it steer it back onto our own space, and to the outer edges. It is such a complex situation that I will not go much deeper into this, but I decided to focus on this letter. So let's just make the drawing, and I go back to it later. I will do that later, I promise. Just to complete the reasoning here, I think it's a missed chance if I wouldn't do that. So I add a very small part afterwards. So actually the drawing is pretty close to what is happening here, the drawing underneath. And it also shows the time aspect, which I didn't go into very much. In the last series with the I, there was a taking back of all the processes that are normally need time, and all the time processes, and it turns itself back to our normal space. And that is actually P is also a kind of equation, also in mathematics and in nature, that is also exactly used for this. So every process that needs time actually has to deal with the frame within where it can really exist. And this frame is three-dimensional, not 4, 5 or 6 dimensional, it's three-dimensional. Everything that exists has to limit itself to this frame. So the taking back of all the dimensions of time into the frame of space is formed with this equation of P. So actually it's a very good example of what is happening in the higher dimensions, that are taking back all the processes that are normally needs time processes and delays and processes. Well, here with the P, it takes it back to the usual reality. And the last word, sorry it was a bit too complicated with P, but okay, sooner or later we'll come back to it. Of course we have sin, the last word, sin. So the S and the E, again, why do I use words with both these complex letters? But okay, I will combine them. The S are all the deviation values that have an influence on our center, as you can see in the top. And this will make, this is our first letter, so all the deviations will have an effect on our center. What will have an effect on our center? It will decide the E or the steering values on everything what we can reach on the E, and it will end in the N. So what will be this in more simple terms? Sin will be a focus on all the effects that we will focus completely on the effects. So C in a way is like you stimulate all the effects that you can have sooner or later. That's the C. It's the yes to it also means yes. It's the yes against all the effects that you can have. Yes, okay, I go for it. All the effects that has a positive effect, has any kind of effect, yes. But the letter N means that the N is a materialization process. So all the materialization goes into this region. So what will happen then? So that all the outer effects of, I know that there are some good effects and I like them, and I go deeper into them and I follow them further. This will be the sin. It is you will follow the effects only. That's what more or less is the letter N. That's why it has again a negative connotation, while C has a positive connotation. These were all connected with the book Sounding Form, from which the first book was part was the development of the word, and one of the last pages of that book was about these three letters, how you can go back into the dimensions to our own world again. And it's a quite complex idea, but I had some examples. So maybe you missed some examples in the book. I have more examples in my videos, so here they are. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Sorry that the text here are still in Dutch, but everything I say was in English. This was Gerald Johan van Waas. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want more updates, more instructions. They will be there several times. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.